thank you to both of you. It was. I'm still trying to digest the show. And before I forget, I will probably forget to ask if there are questions in the audience. So can you just correct me on that one? Can I start with you, Einat? And if you can tell me about something about the writing process and how you envisioned the end result while you were researching or while you were building what eventually became this text.
So as I also said in the play itself, it was extremely difficult for me and Issa to meet. We have to cross an entire system of bureaucratical and physical barriers just to sit together and talk. It was difficult, and when we traveled, things were much easier. I feel that before that it was a lot of process of researching, reading all the protocols, which were endless, really. There are so hundreds of files and hearings and conclusions and adds to the conclusions. So when I was in Tel Aviv and traveling to Hebron to talk with Issa, it was more than as a research, but when we were together in London, then I feel that the shape was really done. But then I came back to Tel Aviv and I rewrite it again with the experience in London as a meta theater, because my plays usually deal with the thing itself and with why we need the theater.
Yeah. And I was thinking of you, Issa. Could you, even if you are on the stage, it automatically becomes a layer of abstraction when you put something on stage. Can you tell us a bit about your experience of having your own experiences put through the theater machine, if that makes sense?
Yes, I think it was very hard for me to put everything together. Because Einat wanted to do a play about the military court, but I wanted to do a play about everything. And really there are a lot of things you want to present it, and you want to increase awareness about it in the play. We want to target audience who are not usually aware of the situation. And what is in the play is too much. So we had to shorten a lot. And I was really careful to add this, to add that, not to miss this, not to miss that. And it was not easy, because we had a lot of things. We didn't put it in, because it's not about Issa. It's about each Palestinian living under the Israeli occupation. So we talked more about the military system. We talked about the PA, collaboration with Israel. And it's rare that you talk about both in the same, play or the same film, because it's not easy to compare two systems. Because it's not two systems, it's one. This is Oslo. From the beginning, it was set up to be like this. Oslo Agreement, that the Palestinian Authority will become a subcontractor of the Israeli occupation. And not to forget the refugees, not to forget Jerusalem, not to forget Gaza, not to forget everything Palestinian people are facing. So this plates one of the rare, artistic work, which almost talking about the Palestinian cause in a small, artistic work. As Hebron is a microcosm of the Israeli occupation, me personally, I wanted this play to be, as a sample and, as, something talks about everything. It was not easy. I'm not a theater person. I know nothing about theater. I'm an electrical engineer. I'm someone who knows math. I'm an electrical engineer.
Okay.
I know systems, input, output, processor. This is how I set up, And with Einat, it was very hard to play myself. She was telling me, Issa's not talking like this. I was playing myself, and she was telling me how to behave as an actor. In London, I suffered a lot. I was repeating all the time myself. To the Einat, I was the one who was talking in the military court. Because my testimony in the military court, when I testified, because it took from 2016 to 2021, 5 years, trials and hearings, and I'm an expert in the court because I was getting in and out, in and out, in and out all the time. And I took from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock to testify. The judge decision was 120 pages. And you know why? Because the military system is not used to someone as me who's ready to confront. Because the majority of Palestinians, they give up. And they go to blah, blah, agreement, because they want to stop this torture, because they torture you in the military court. So the military court, it's part of the military system to torture Palestinians and to torture their families. I never, ever accepted to bring my family to the court. And what was hurting me a lot as Issa in the court was to see the families and the parents and the mothers of Palestinian kids being mistreated in the court. It's a kind of making the occupation felt on the Palestinian shoulders. So the mother will prevent her son not to resist the occupation. So to put all together with the feelings, it's not easy. I don't like to be translated, when I, tell me go to speak in France and someone to translate me, I don't feel that I want to be translated because, I want the feelings, my feelings and the feelings of the people I'm presenting to be with the speech, with the, with the scenes. It's much easier to do documentaries than theater, to be very honest. This is what I think. And I'm learning about theater, day by day. Do you know about theater?
Me? No, not that much. But I went to the university once. And,
once?
Yes. I wrote a dissertation.
Okay.
And
PhD?
Yes. And it got me involved with the Brecht Society. They wanted to make a conference in Israel. And I felt I had to warn my colleagues. And my warning ended up in the hands of your partner.
Wow.
That's theater.
That's theater, yes. Our life under the occupation is theater. The Norwegian government is doing theater to lie to their people about their support to the occupation.
Yeah.
The Muslims in Gaza, which Israel is using, the control tools, it's made here in Norway. Yes, it's made here.
Yeah.
So it's a theater. You live in a theater.
Well, actually, it's more theatrical than I was aware of. The whole idea, as I see the Zionist ideology, it's the reimagining of return to
the promised land and making the desert bloom.
Yeah.
It was said by a high official European that Israel made the desert bloom, as they are making Gaza now bloom. So in a few years, you will see no one there and it will be green.
Exactly. But Einat, all the court decisions that you have plowed through, would it be possible for us in Norway to access some of this material because I've come across one or two court decisions translated by B'Tselem.
Issa? Of Issa, you mean?
Or someone else.
Yes, you can have access to all the protocols.
But it's most of it in Hebrew.
In Hebrew, you have to translate it. But my trial has a lot of pages. You know, my lawyer defense was 160 pages. Only my lawyer.
But anyone involved with translating?
You know, they translated a little bit, but you can translate them. You can, you know, my protocols, I can give it to you. I don't mind. I'm planning to write a book about it, to put them all together in a book and see Issa's Amro book. Military. No, it's a kangaroo court. It's not a court. So many people think it's a court. It's not a court.
No.
It's a theater. You know, I feel there, really, you know, when I was testifying, I felt that, you know, it's a theater. And I was very smart not to answer questions. And the hardest question, the most difficult question from the persecutor was, and I'm an expert, you know, I'm in answering them, I do well, okay? But he found that question I didn't expect. He told me, Issa, I read Youth Against Settlement Charter, paragraph number 2, says that you want to use non-violent civil disobedience to end the Israeli occupation, the persecution. And usually, you know, I don't trust them. Because, you know, normally I should say yes. I'm proud of that. It means 1 year to 10 years in jail. So that is theater. So I told him, no, maybe translation. I can answer you in the, you know, outside with coffee. I will not meet him with coffee. He's a settler.
Yeah. But if you let me lead some of this conversation, I would like to.
Yes.
I don't like to be led usually, but yeah.
Can you explain how you did this in front of a Brecht audience? Because it's so surreal for me to have this performed in Israel in front of supposedly 68 radical Brecht scholars.
So, let's begin from the fact that when I heard about the Brecht conference from you, I think, you sent me your letter for asking to boycott this conference, and I think I put you in touch with someone from Boycott From Within.
Yeah.
And then a few weeks later, the organizer of the Brecht conference asked me to show this play in front of the conference, and then I was like, oh, I just helped Finn to boycott it. What shall I do? And I contact Boycott From Within, and they told me, of course you can do it. You are from within. It will be much more effective if you do it, and in the after talk you speak about the letter, and you speak about the situation, and okay, so this is what I did, and most of them didn't know about your letter. They wanted to know more, and they asked where was it published, and I was
It was published in a Brecht
yes,
magazine.
I know.
Yeah.
How come they didn't know about it? Or maybe they just made themselves as if they don't know.
Theater.
It's theater. And Issa,
but I had a problem that I could not call to boycott Israel in Israeli institution, because this is violation of the Nakba law. So I was trying to say it without saying it. I said something like, this might be a very effective tool, but I don't call to boycott Israel. I cannot call to boycott Israel in Israeli institution, and I was repeating it twice until they understood that the director of the theater was present in the hall. So I made them understand that this is what
But I accept the right of the people to boycott.
And then there are a few people that went to visit you.
Yes.
And they also wrote me later that they wrote about it. Maybe also they wrote about your letter. Someone from the conference wrote me.
Actually, the Brecht scholars, they wanted to meet the Freedom Theater in Jenin, which we had the pleasure of having as guests here in Oslo a few months ago. And they said, no, we don't want to meet you, which was made me very glad, actually. Because this is perhaps something for the engineer, because
I was very good in engineering, so ask whatever you want.
okay,
Math, physics.
yeah, something
Control?
like that. Classification.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because what I see is some sort of chaos. I see settler attacks. I see arrests of students. I see bombs on Gaza. I see prohibition on organizations, arrests of students, arrests at night of children. This is the thing that makes me think, oh, it's complicated. The complication is my lack of classification, because I can classify you. I have physical objects. I have organic, non-organic, plants, birds, animals. Can you help me or help us to find the classification system, since you are so good in engineering?
And, for me, classification is something you do it as you have the perception in your mind. This is how to classify other. Each nation, they classify the other in their own ideology. This is something very, very important. But if you want to talk about Palestine and what's going on in Palestine and classify, it's not easy to do so, because we don't have it, we don't have consensus agreement within Palestine what to classify and how to sort it, how to present it. So each case is different from the other.
I mean, Palestine is under attack constantly. But in so many ways that it confuses me.
Yes, I can tell you, not classification, I can tell you policies, what they do exactly. Okay? First, their main policy now on the ground, that they don't evict you personally from your house, but they make it impossible for you to stay and remain. In H2, in Area C, in Gaza, in East Jerusalem, they want Palestinians to leave. Their end goal is that Israel is from the river to the sea. So they want to take out all Palestinians with brain drains. They don't want us to stay. So this is one of the main policies of making Palestinians leave and go outside. This is how I work, with my policy, how I counter. Second, they work to damage the image of the Palestinians. That Palestinians are terrorists, Palestinians are not educated, Palestinians are only people who are begging. And unfortunately, many countries deal with us as if we are animals and we need shelter, or food, or aid. This is something very important. And it's not the case, And the third one, it's about representing that we have equal opponents. Gaza is opponents. Gaza is attacking Israel. If you go to Twitter, you will see a lot of tweets. Israel under attack. Attack from whom? From whom? You know, from small rockets. You are comparing them to your F-16 or to your tanks. And recently, something very important, it's the surveillance and the artificial intelligence. Palestine became a lab, experimental lab, for security solution companies to try it on Palestinians. Even they go further, maybe, to study the psychology of Palestinians, how they walk, how they behave, what they like, what they don't like, what happens to them if we do that to them. So the surveillance now, it's crazy. And they use all means to kill our spirit and our hope of getting freedom and justice and equality. So they want us to accept the occupation until they use the right moment to send us out. This is, but classification is not, in a way or another, we can use that in Palestine.
Is it okay to share the talk?
For me, yes, I'm okay. I like to share.
Are there questions from the
I would
audience?
like to say something about this interesting point because
Mu'taz is from Gaza.
Okay.
Habibi Issa, thank you. that how I mean in general whatever colonization when it comes to whatever land it steals the land first and then it steals the culture and then the language and then even the food until we have reached a time that Falafel is Israeli now. So what they are doing after they're stealing the land, now what you're talking about, guys, like separation. They're making separation between Gaza and, for example, El Khalil or Nablus. They make different cases and different realities that people from outside think that Gaza is not a Palestinian city. Gaza is a different city, has nothing to do with Palestine. And this is actually something weird going on the Western media all the time. Like when you watch the news about how many rockets went out of Gaza and thousands. Like today I was reading like 1,009 rockets from Gaza been launched to Israel. And if you want to compare, as Issa said, this is like, but okay, how many, for example, got damaged out of these rockets? How much damage these rockets caused to the other side. But in general, the division policy or the division politics that the Israeli working on, like for example, I'm from Gaza, but I never ever been in Nablus. I never ever been in any other Palestinian city. And that is
not allowed.
Yeah, I'm not allowed. And that is, by the way, that's another point. I'm gonna tell you about it later. But even though, like the division of the cities and the villages, and they give Palestinian different numbers, ID numbers. Like Palestinians from Gaza have a different ID numbers from Palestinian who lives in Nablus, for example, or who lives in Ramallah. So the division politics on us until, like in a way, they don't want us to communicate. And that's why they make Gaza as a different case. So, okay, it's fine. You see Gaza, that you see a lot of war going on Gaza, but Ramallah has a different case, so you don't need to actually interfere or to do. So this policy, the Israelis have been working on us since long time to divide the same land and the same people and the same opinion. So how much they manage, I think they have succeeded a little bit. But
I want to talk a little bit further about this. Mm-hmm. Palestinians are classified and sorted. I know that we don't have time. I will just... So Palestinians in 48, Palestinians in East Jerusalem, Palestinians in West Bank, Palestinians in Gaza, different classification. And Palestinians refugee camps in Arab countries, and Palestinians in diaspora. So it's two different, 6 different systems, I think. And it's about divide and conquer. And but something else very important, Mu'taz. 2021, we were united from Haifa to Beersheba.
But not geographically.
Not geographically,
yes,
but we had one movement.
The same opinion, but not geographically.
Thank you.
Yeah,
No, it's all
we'll continue upstairs,
but
outside.
he wants to say something.
He was raising his hand during the play.
Oh,
so
sorry.
I'm half Gazan and half West Banker, so
Okay.
Can you tell them about the blue whale?
Blue wolf and
Yeah,
red
blue wolf.
red wolf.
Yes,
Uh,
it's very important.
Yes. Unfortunately, Israel is using us as experimental objects. And they have surveillance using artificial intelligence, very advanced cameras with systems. Blue Wolf, it's a kind of an app. It's very dangerous, by the way, okay? Maybe they will use it in Norway. They sell it to Norway, okay? This is what they do. The Blue Wolf, it's a kind of application. It's in the hand of the soldiers. They come to you, they take your photo, they know who are you. Not they know who are you, they know everything about you. And it's with end users, with soldiers, with a 19, 20, 18 years old soldier. So they know that who's Issa. So last year I was arrested, detained maybe 10 times because the soldier who saw that through his app, all the information about me, he doesn't like what I'm doing, okay? In spite that I am not wanted. So this is the Blue Wolf, and it's about spying on us, monitoring us, watching us, and using us as an experiment, for their, solutions. And then they go, look, we are using it against Palestinians, and it's doing well.
And they're getting rewarded for every 50.
Yes. And then Red Wolf. Red Wolf, it's not application, it's a computer system. It's in the desktop computers or the laptops, and it does the same. So we have surveillance cameras all over. They call Hebron Smart City, okay? But it's about the military system. So they collect data about me, about my visitors, where I go, where I walk, how I walk, do I walk fast in the morning, do I run, all that. I think even they go further to do experiment on me, how I think, how I behave, do I smart, do I close my eyes, how I behave in winter, how I behave in summer. That level of, surveillance on the Palestinians. I'm not talking about the drones, I'm not talking about the satellites, I'm not talking about the artificial intelligence in the computers, in the internet, because they control everything. They control water, they control electricity, they control internet, the Israelis. So we in the occupied territories don't have any say about that. We don't know what is the limitation of their technology they are using on us. And we don't have any consent, and we can't say no. And we don't know what they do with the data. And they use it, if they see me with a girlfriend, for example, and I'm holding her hand and nobody knows in the community, they film me and they expose me, as what happened in Nablus with a Palestinian gay from the gay community. They filmed him, in a relationship, and they made him a spy, and they made him spy on Palestinian fighters, and he was killed by the Palestinian resistance for that. That is Israel, who's, proud of their gay support and their parade. A gay guy in Nablus was killed because of them using him as a spy, forcing him to be a spy. This is the artificial intelligence, and this is the technology. I feel that they follow everything in my phone, too. This is artificial intelligence, and this is part of the Red Wolf. Look to these names, okay? And they sell it to many countries, and nobody's talking about it here in Norway. Nobody's talking about it in Europe. Nobody's talking about it in the US. And even Khashoggi was killed. The Saudi, famous journalist and opposition leader was killed because of an Israeli technology. And many other technologies, Israel sells it to the world. They try it on us first. This is something very important. It hurts me a lot because I don't want to be experimental object. Even I don't like to use animals, as in my scientific experiment or technology experiment, because it's not something easy. I'm ready to answer and send you more. Amnesty International did amazing report about that. You can Google it, and they really have a lot of information about Red Wolf, Blue Wolf, and the Israeli surveillance in the occupied territories, and they do it without morals and without ethics, unfortunately. And nobody is blaming them for doing that, especially in Norway.